Dear students, hope you are all fine. Today I am sharing another video lecture with you, and the topic of this lecture is presentation skills, modes of delivery of presentation and delivery of effective presentation. In this lecture, I will talk about modes of delivering of presentation, and I will also talk about how to deliver an effective presentation. At the end of this lecture, you will be able to know about presentation skills. You will also be able to know about different modes of delivery of presentation, and you will also be able to know about how to deliver an effective presentation. Dear students, now I will talk about modes of delivering oral presentation. We have four methods of delivering oral message to the audience. The first is extemporaneous presentation, the second is manuscript or reading presentation, the third is memorization, the fourth is impromptu. Now I will talk about all these four different modes of delivering oral presentation one by one in coming slides. The first type of oral presentation is extemporaneous presentation. This method of delivering a presentation is very popular. It allows the speaker to use notes and an outline. There is no need to learn every word and line by rote. A speaker should organize the subject matter of his speech. He should plan it carefully before he delivers. So this method has certain advantages. The first advantage is that a speaker gets enough time to prepare for the presentation. He focuses on the central point. He feels comfortable with his material before he delivers it. The second advantage is the speaker can add more material which comes to his mind during presentation. In this way, he can make his presentation very impressive. The third advantage is he gets a chance for more eye contact with the audience. This adds to the speaker's goodwill and good sense. But there are some disadvantages of extemporaneous presentation as well. This first disadvantage is this method of delivering speech is based on preparation. If a speaker fails to prepare notes on sound footing, he is sure to fail in his speech. He will disappoint himself and his audience equally. The second disadvantage is the speech will lose its natural color if you depend too much on our notes. The second type of presentation is manuscript presentation. In this method of delivering a speaker is supposed to read out material from his notes word for word. He does not memorize the speech. He stands on the stage and read out what is written in his notebook. This method of delivery contains many dangers in it. The speaker must be a proficient reader. He must have full command over the language. He can make his lecture dull and uninteresting if he is not a good reader. There are certain advantages of manuscript presentation. The first advantage is this method is very accurate way of presentation. Each word of the speaker is recorded and has a permanent life. The second advantage of manuscript presentation is there is no chance of tampering with facts and figures. The third advantage is the material is organized fully and is quite systematic. The fourth advantage is the use of language is correct. Every word in this method can be checked and rewritten. Correct language leaves a lasting impression on the mind of the audience. But there are also certain disadvantages of manuscript presentation. The first disadvantage is it discourages eye contact with the audience, which is an essential element of oral communication. It is through eye contact that the speaker fails to make a rapport with his listeners. The second disadvantage is it discourages the movement of arms, hands, head, and shoulder, which are very essential for effective delivery. The third disadvantage is the speaker cannot add more material to the already written material. Sometimes it is very essential to add more material from our mind as the situation demands it. So manuscript presentation has some advantages, it also has some disadvantages. Some ad- the third type of presentation is memorized presentation. This method of delivering a speech is very difficult. It is a painstaking task to remember a speech word for word. There are speakers who do not remember the speech fully. They memorize only some part of the speech and write down keywords on cards to help them during speech. This type of delivery also contains many good and bad points. So advantages of memorized presentation. The first advantage is in this kind of delivery, the speaker has ample chances to make eye contact with the audience through presentation. The second advantage is the speaker has advantage of making body gestures to impress the audience. He can move his head, raise his hands and arms, and lift his shoulders to emphasize some point. There are also some disadvantages of memorized presentation. The first disadvantage is it requires a lot of time to memorize a speech. The second is there are chances that the speaker should make his speech dull and uninteresting by his method. It is because he cannot add more material to it according to situation. The third important disadvantage is a speaker's memory may fail if he does not revise it again and again. The fourth type of presentation is impromptu presentation. Sometimes we are asked to offer comments on some topics when we are supposed to speak without preparation and without forewarning. The process is called impromptu. It is a difficult way of delivering a lecture or speech. It is possible that we may not recall or organize the material which we want to deliver. The best way is that we should not lose self control. We should not become nervous. We should try to remember and recall the quotations, anecdotes, and examples which we can easily set in the speech. In such moments, the speaker should remain smiling on the stage. At the same time, he should be brief. This method has the following advantages. The first advantage of this method is that we have not to work hard to prepare the speech. The second advantage is our speech remains natural and unaffected. It retains its original color. The third advantage is it is spontaneous and simple. That is why it impresses the audience. There are certain disadvantages of impromptu presentation. The first disadvantage is it lacks organized material. It may slip into careless and irregular collection of facts and figures. The third disadvantage is if the speaker has poor proficiency at language, he cannot impress the audience. So these were different types of presentations. Dear students, now I will tell you how to handle questions from the audience. It is customary to have questions time of 8 to 10 minutes duration at the end of the presentation by the speaker. This time is kept reserved to enable the audience to seek clarification of certain points raised by the speaker during his or her presentation. The question time is also the time for you as a speaker to clarify, amplify certain things that you mentioned in your presentation but could not do so for want of time. Now, using question time effectively. The following guidelines will help you to make the best use of question time. The first guideline is at the beginning of your talk, do inform your audience that you would be willing to answer any question from the audience at the end of your presentation, which is related to your talk. Making announcement like this will enable people in the audience to think of questions agitating their minds. Second, it is quite likely that sometimes you may not get even a single question to answer. In such a situation, you can ask the audience to give their opinion on something you had said during your talk. This will motivate the audience to ask you questions which they were earlier thinking to ask, but somehow had no courage or they felt shy about it. The third guideline is that suppose even after asking the audience to give their opinion on what you have said during your talk, no question is asked by the audience. Does it mean that the question time, which is so important to both the speaker and the audience, should be allowed to go waste? Certainly not. In this situation, you can make another attempt to make the best use of the question time by saying, I think you do not have any question to ask me, but I have to share an important question which has been repeatedly asked to me on different occasions. The question is, believe me, this will definitely break the barriers between you as a speaker and your audience. Fourth important point is, with a view or to making the question time a useful activity, repeat the question you received loudly. This will make the rest of the people in the audience equally interested in listening to answer given by you. The fifth important point is that at times someone may ask a question which is not connected with the subject to discuss. Your response to such a question should not give the impression to the rest of the audience that the questionnaire has no intelligence. You can just repeat briefly what you had earlier said in your speech. Your body language should also corroborate your response. Another important guideline is that sometimes a listener may ask you such a question, the answer to which is not readily available with you. In such a case, you can be honest enough to tell the person that you are not very sure whether you have the right answer to the question, but that you will definitely try to find it out from a reliable source within a day or two, or you would love to pass on the correct answer to the question on phone or through other medium as soon as possible. This will enhance your respect in the audience's mind, provided you maintain a positive body language while telling them all about it. Another important guideline is that there is one more disturbing situation when somebody asks you a personal question which has no direct or indirect connection with the subject you talked about. Well, in such a situation, instead of snubbing the questioner, you better ask questioner in return. Example, what do you think the answer for this question would be? And saying so, just pass a smile and turn to another area of audience to take another question. Another important guideline is that we also come across certain questioners who start challenging the speaker. In such case, instead of getting disturbed or nervous or losing your temper to the questioner, the best course of action would be to say, well, your question is very interesting, but I am afraid it needs a detailed discussion before I get converted to your line of thinking. We can discuss it at a time when it is mutually convenient to us. Okay, saying this, look into some other direction to take a question from the audience. So the above guidelines will help you to make creative use of question time, which is an integral part of an effective speech on any subject. Now, dear students, I will talk about delivery of effective presentation. When you come to stage to deliver a speech, you must be sure that you are fully prepared. You should answer the following questions before you deliver the speech. Do you know the aim and purpose of your speech? Do you know your audience? Have you calculated and organized the basic ideas of your speech? Are you going to take the help of visual aids? Have you made a rehearsal of your speech? Are you dressed properly? So these are the questions which are very important, and you need to answer these questions before going for effective presentation. So what to keep in mind while delivering of effective presentation? The first is effective delivery style. Think about the best speaker you ever heard. What made this person stand out in your mind? It is perhaps the style of delivery of speech that made him stick to your mind. Delivery is how a message is communicated orally and visually through the use of voice and body. An effective delivery is both conversational and animated. Conversational. An effective delivery is conversational. You must talk with the audience, not perform in front of them, nor read to them. The hallmark of conversational style is spontaneity. Spontaneity is the ability to sound natural. The second is animated. The delivery of the speech must be lively and dynamic. The secret of delivering an animated speech lies in your voice. You should speak your ideas and passions through an energetic voice. When you begin to deliver your speech, bear in mind the following things. The third is voice. Your voice is the main means of your communication. You should start your speech with confidence. You should keep your voice under your control. It should neither be loud nor low. You should control the pitch of your voice. Now, what is pitch? Pitch is the highness or lowness of your voice. In speaking, the pitch should be varied as the occasion demands. Your main object is to draw the attention of the audience. Do not speak in demeaning manner. A good speaker does not talk down at the audience. He talks to the audience. The idea is to sweep away the audience with yourself. You must be intelligible to listeners. The fifth step is rate. The rate of uttering words vary from one speaker to the other. Experts on communication tell us that a good speaker should utter 80 to 160 words per minute. A speaker is considered unimpressive if he is slow at his speech. In the same manner, the fast speaker also causes discomfort. The sixth one is volume. Volume is the loudness or softness of your voice. You can increase or decrease the volume of your voice according to situation. Certain ideas, words, or certain parts of your talk may demand soft or high volume of your voice. Appropriate volume is the key to intelligibility. The volume of the speaker should be such that could be heard at far off place. If the voice is raised too much, its tonal quality is lost. Support your voice with lots of breath. You should project out your words to the audience. The seventh point is clarity. Volume should not make you unclear. If you deliver the speech through clenched teeth and little movements of lips, it is bound to be audible. The sound is blocked into mouth and not let out. A good speaker should open his mouth fully and make his voice clear. The eighth one is pronunciation. You must pronounce your words correctly. You should keep in mind the cultural and linguistic background of the audience. A wrong pronunciation may carry an unclear and wrong message to the audience. The ninth important point is vocal expressions. Vocal expression is achieved by changing your pitch, volume, and rate and stressing certain words. Doing so clarifies the emotional intent of your message. It helps animate your delivery. Generally, speeding up your rate, raising your pitch, or increasing your volume reinforces your emotions such as excitement, joy, or enthusiasm. If you lower pitch, it will indicate sorrow, remorse, and slowness. A total lack of vocal expression produces a monotone. It will make your speech dull. Another important point is posture. The stance and posture of a presenter tells a lot about his or her personality. You must use your posture as a dynamic tool to enforce your rapport with the audience. You must not stand in a position where you obscure the screen. Avoid pacing up and down the place. Do not fiddle with a pen, juggle keys, or change in the pocket. Do not smack the tongue, lick the lips, and scratch the nose. Do not put off or put on your glasses frequently. Mark meaningful gestures that are in complete agreement with what you are saying. The 11th point is use of body appearance. You must be well dressed. Your appearance should reflect your personality. Your dress and body language have to be appropriate. When you reach the stage, you must stand in front of the microphone with confidence. You should smile at the audience and wish them first. The 12th point is eye contact. You should look at your audience attentively. This eye contact can help the audience concentrate on your speech. It is taken by the listeners as a sign of sincerity. It will help you to see they are taking interest in your speech or not. You can add more material to your speech if they see your audience are getting bored. The last point, which is very, very important, that is gestures. You can make your delivery effective by the gestures or of your hands, arms, and fingers. So these are different points which are helpful in delivering an effective presentation. Dear students, in this class, I talked about different modes of delivery. I also talked about how to deliver effective presentation. I hope that you have got the concept.